They found him shivering in a coffee shop parking lot, trying to drink from a stranger's mug that had been left on a table. The barista chased him away 3 times. The 4th time, a college student named Emma did something that changed everything. And what this abandoned tabby did 6 months later, nobody saw it coming. His paws were too small to grip the ceramic properly. He'd stand on his hind legs, stretch his neck, and dip his pink nose into cold coffee dregs, lapping desperately at anything wet. His golden fur was matted with rain, his white chest stained brown from the puddles, and those enormous green eyes, they looked like they'd been searching for something warm for way too long. He couldn't have been more than 4 months old, maybe 5, young enough to still have that kitten clumsiness, old enough to know what abandonment felt like. Emma noticed him on a Tuesday morning. She was cramming for finals, surviving on espresso and anxiety, when she saw this tiny orange tabby literally climb onto an outdoor table and shove his face into someone's abandoned latte cup. The cup tipped over, coffee splashed everywhere, and instead of running, the kitten just sat there, licking the spill off the table like it was a 5-star meal. "Hey, someone get that cat out of here," the barista yelled. But Emma was already moving. She grabbed her scarf, scooped up the soaking wet kitten, and felt his little body shaking so hard it broke her heart. He didn't scratch, he didn't fight, he just curled into the warmth of her arms and started purring, that desperate kind of purr that says, "Please don't let me go." "I can't keep you," Emma whispered. "I live in a dorm, no pets allowed." The kitten looked up at her with those ridiculous green eyes and slow blinked. If you know cats, you know what that means. Here's what most people don't understand about strays. They don't just need food and shelter, they need routines. They need to feel safe. And this little guy, he'd learned to associate coffee shops with survival. Wherever there were people drinking coffee, there was warmth, there were leftovers, there was a chance. Emma spent the next 3 hours calling every shelter in the city. Full, 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 wait list only. One place said they'd take him, but couldn't guarantee he wouldn't be euthanized within 2 weeks. We're over capacity with kittens right now. Tabby cats are the least adopted. They're too common. Too common. This perfect little creature was too common to deserve a chance. So Emma made a decision that would cost her her housing deposit, risk her scholarship, and completely derail her study schedule. She named him Mocha, bought a litter box at the campus convenience store, and smuggled him into her dorm room inside her backpack. For 2 weeks, Mocha lived in secret. Emma would wake up at 5 a.m. to clean his litter box before her roommate stirred. She'd leave nature documentaries playing on her laptop so he wouldn't meow from loneliness. She'd skip lunch to buy him actual cat food instead of feeding him dining hall leftovers. And every single morning, Mocha would wait by her desk, staring at her coffee mug with this intense, almost obsessive focus. "You really love coffee, don't you, buddy?" Emma laughed one morning. But it wasn't about the coffee. It was about the ritual, the warmth, the moment of connection. Mocha had learned that coffee meant someone cared enough to sit still for a few minutes, and he wanted to be part of that. Here's where it gets interesting. On day 16, Emma's roommate found out. There was a whole drama, threats to report her to the RA, accusations of being selfish and irresponsible. Emma had 2 choices: give up Mocha or give up her dorm room. She chose Mocha. She moved into a friend's off-campus apartment, picked up extra shifts at the library, and started eating ramen for every meal, just to afford rent and cat expenses. Her GPA dropped, her parents were furious, her friends told her she was throwing away her future for a cat. But here's the thing, Mocha wasn't just a cat. Every morning when Emma's alarm went off and she wanted to skip class, Mocha would jump on her chest and headbutt her awake. When she studied late into the night, he'd curl up on her textbooks, forcing her to take breaks. When she cried over exam stress, he'd bring her his favorite toy mouse, dropping it in her lap like a therapist offering tissues. And that coffee obsession? It turned into the sweetest routine. Every morning, Emma would make her coffee and pour a tiny bit of warm water into a small dish for Mocha. He'd sit next to her, drinking his water while she drank her coffee, both of them starting their day together. The turning point came 6 months later. Emma was applying for internships, drowning in rejections, convinced she'd ruined her life by choosing a cat over stability. She was sprawled on the couch, staring at her laptop, when Mocha did something he'd never done before. He jumped onto her desk, walked across her keyboard, and somehow, clicked on an email she'd ignored for 3 days. It was from a veterinary research program. They were looking for student assistants. The job came with housing, pet-friendly housing. Coincidence? Maybe. But Emma's pretty sure Mocha knew exactly what he was doing. She got the job. The pay was better than anything she'd expected. The apartment was small but had huge windows that Mocha loved. And the best part? Her new boss was a veterinarian who specialized in animal behavior. She saw Emma and Mocha's morning coffee ritual and actually teared up. "Do you know how rare this is?" she said. "Most rescued animals struggle with trust for years, but this cat? He built an entire routine around connection. That's extraordinary." Fast forward to today. Mocha is 2 years old. He's healthy, confident, and still obsessed with coffee time. Emma graduated with honors and got accepted into vet school. They still have their morning ritual: warm water for Mocha, coffee for Emma, both of them sitting in the same spots they've sat in for 2 years. But here's my favorite part. Emma started volunteering at the same shelter that told Mocha was too common to save. She brings Mocha with her sometimes. He wears a little vest that says, "Adoptable cats are worth it," and greets every visitor at the door. Last month, a family came in looking for a unique cat. Something exotic, they said. Something special. Emma introduced them to a 3-year-old tabby who'd been there for 8 months. The family hesitated. "He's kind of ordinary looking," the dad said. Emma smiled and pointed at Mocha. "See that cat? Everyone said he was too common to matter. Now he's the reason I found my career, my home, and my purpose. Ordinary cats do extraordinary things. You just have to give them the chance." The family adopted that tabby the same day. So here's my question for you. Would you have walked past Mocha in that parking lot? Or do you believe that the most common-looking animals sometimes carry the most uncommon hearts? Drop your thoughts below. I really want to know where you stand on this.